Welcome everybody. I'm glad to have with me today a Dublin graduate, Nicole Newton, and we talked last week on the telephone. And you love sports.
Yes, sir.
You love sports.
Yes, sir. Love it.
Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a 2002 graduate of Dublin High School. I also played 4 years at Georgia Southern. My last year there was 2006. So I've been, and it all started at Stubbs Park Gym playing in recreation. Back then, sixth graders couldn't play for the middle school team, so that's why I really got my basketball career kicked off during recreation, and it's just been on a steady thing from there. If I wasn't playing, I was coaching or training, so that's what I love to do.
So it's pretty obvious the reason you pursued this line of work, just the passion. I know when we talked last week, you can just tell somebody that loves what they do.
Yes.
And when you have that passion, it's a lot easier to do what you're doing.
It's not work. It motivates you every day.
And you're talking about Stubbs Park. How early is too early for a child to be preparing to play at that next level once they graduate?
My philosophy, as soon as they can walk.
Mm-hmm.
If their age, even when they're young, like 2 or 3 years old, put a ball in their hands, and they'll gravitate towards which sport they want to play. But if it's baseball, basketball, soccer, cheerleading, whatever it is, they'll gravitate towards it.
Yeah, and I think about when you were just saying that, Tiger Woods, his dad started with him long before he was 4 years old. And I'm thinking, I got 4-year-old grandkids and, put a golf club in their hand. So that tells me it's not too early.
It's not. It's perfect timing.
Yeah. You have a lot of parents want their kids to play through them. They didn't really excel at baseball, basketball, football, so now they want their kid to do that.
Right.
What do you say to a parent and we have a lot of that, especially with travel ball now, but because it sounds like you're saying, whatever they gravitate to. But what advice do you give parents?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Mr. Deal. Parents, if you're pushing your child to play a sport because that's what you played, that's a bad idea. Because what happens is that child eventually burn out. If they don't love it, they're not gonna want to do it. They'll get out there and just lollygag around, and you get an intense coach, that can cause a little friction there. But just let them do what they want to do. Do not push a child towards a sport because that's the sport you played. That's a terrible idea.
And there's a lot of room for injury. I know. I look at football, for example. If a kid really don't want to play, but they're playing because of their daddy,
right?
You see the injury levels go up because they go out. They're not taking it seriously. And in football, you're going to get hit.
Yes.
And if you're not prepared and you're not doing the kind of things that skill takes, and it's the same in basketball. I grew up playing basketball. I think that's why my knees are like they are now. I played basketball every night of my life, every day, because I loved it. Same thing now, playing in the driveway.
That's right.
It's one of those things. And, it's a good family sport when you get, because there's so many kids playing these games and videos and everything, but to get all to me anyway, get all the grandkids out in the driveway and grab a basketball,
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
And they're exercising and they're having fun. They don't even realize that they're exercising.
Exactly.
Exactly. But, you probably when you played, it was a little better. But, kids today, and I'm quoting coaches here, local coaches, they get kids that come out to get ready for basketball, football, baseball, and they've been sitting in an air-conditioned house eating McDonald's, playing video games.
That's it.
And then what do you see? Cramps and problem physical condition and things like that.
That is correct. playing sports seriously, and I'm going to say seriously, you got to take care of your body. And it starts with what you put in your body. You heard the term, you are what you eat.
Yes.
And that is so true. If you're not hydrating enough, you'll see the kids start to cramp up, and now you're trying to feed them pickle juice and squirt some mustard in their mouth. But if you prepare, you know you got a game Friday, Saturday, you prepare all week. You don't start Thursday night, oh, I'm going to drink some water, I have a game tomorrow. No, you got to prepare that whole week, or else it's going to tell on you. Your body's going to let you know.
I agree with you there. I told some kids last week, I believe garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Not just food, but mental
Oh,
toughness. Yes. And you listen to garbage on the radio or that nasty music or whatever it might be, you're going to spit garbage out.
That's right.
But and it's the same way in being an athlete.
That's right. And I always talk about mental health with athletes, and we've seen it now more so with the example I like to use is Miss Naomi Osaka, the tennis player, where she had to step away from the game of tennis for a while to get herself together mentally, and that holds true for high school students, middle school student athletes. You have to have that piece too, and I'm a huge supporter of children playing sports because it builds that mental toughness.
Yes.
You lose a game, your world's not over. It's not the end. You may feel like it, depending on how passionate you are, but it's not. You get to play another day.
That's right.
So that mental part of preparation of being an athlete is just as important as eating the right things and taking care of your body.
Amen. I agree with you there. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back right after this.
I'm Heath Richter, and we just want to invite everybody to come on down to the Houston Clinic and check us out at our new facility. We've been in Dublin for a while now, obviously, but have a new office here, and we'd just like you to come down and see some of the new stuff we're offering. And if you need to get checked out, we'd be glad to do that for you. We've got able to do some ultrasound-guided injections now and physical therapy and just a little bit better space, so hopefully we can get you in and out of here a little bit quicker.
Come by and see us today at our brand new location, the Houston Clinic, Medical Drive in Dublin.
At Dublin Chevy Nissan, we're getting the St. Patty's Party started early. When you come to Dublin for our St. Patrick's Day Festival, make sure and visit Dublin Chevy Nissan. With shipments of new GMs and Nissans coming daily and a wide selection of pre-owned vehicles, don't miss the party of the year at Dublin Chevy Nissan. At Dublin Chevy Nissan, we take pride in turning our inventory. So if you see it online or on the lot, act quickly. And remember, Don sells trucks well at Dublin Chevy Nissan.
Welcome back, everybody. Continue my conversation with Nicole Newton. I want to ask you: do you have tryouts through the year? Do you have functions that promising athletes can come to and work out on the gym, and you have people like you there? Do you do functions like that?
Yes, sir. I just did one this past Sunday at Stubbs Park Gym. Shameless plug. But I always want to give any child an opportunity, even adults. I work with adults too.
Okay.
Any opportunity where my specialty is basketball. That's what I did. But anybody who wants to get better at their game, and I'll put all my information out there, so just call me and we'll set up a time. But right now here in Dublin, I do Sundays, and I also do some work up in Macon. This is where I currently reside. I'm working with one of the Boys and Girls Clubs, and we're doing basketball training for their kids. So I'm just wide open. Anybody who wants to get in contact with me and work on their game, I'm available.
Yeah, we got, I have a grandson of some friends of mine we go to church with, and he's like 8th grade, 6'4", 6'5".
Wow.
Just the kid's incredible. They travel all over the Southeast. Well, they've really traveled outside the Southeast, letting him play in some of these tournaments because I found out playing basketball in high school, at night I would play with guys that were way older than me. And
That's right.
then when I got with kids at school, I was always better than them.
That's right.
So my question to you is, when we play up like that, you may be getting beat while I'm with a 25-year-old and I'm 15.
Right.
That's just, you can't help it. But don't you think that it helps you to play with older people?
Absolutely. That's how I came up. it started with my dad and then my older cousins. You know, they all played sports, so they'll take me out in the backyard and I mean put it on me, you know. But I learned lessons from that. You know, why don't I shot fake? Because I keep getting my shot blocked. You know, I'm going to learn how to pump fake. So when I go play against girls my age, it's easy work, you know. So I always think that you should play up. You should challenge yourself. Don't play against people you know you can beat. That's you're not learning from that.
That's right.
So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So how early is too early to do for a coach or you or somebody involved with the athlete to do a profile on them and to start some video of them playing and coming up through the ranks?
Right.
Can it be too early, or what's the appropriate age?
I think it can be too early. I say middle school, especially around 8th grade, because believe it or not, there are college coaches who offer 8th graders. I mean, that kid is just that good. They'll extend the offer. Now you still got 4 more years.
Right.
That kid may change his mind, his or her mind, but they do offer that early. So I say around 8th grade, maybe going into their 8th grade year is a good time to start building those profiles. And I like to use Twitter. A lot of the college coaches, a lot of people put up film, and the college coaches will reach out to them via Twitter and other social media outlets. But Twitter is my favorite one. But I say around 8th grade.
So do you expose kids to, you know, because all over the world, you know, you'll have athletes playing in Greece or Japan or whatever. So do you expose kids to that kind of?
I have no issue doing that. I've actually had some representation for international players. A lot of young men from Ghana, actually.
Wow.
And it was this young man, one in particular, he reached out to me via Facebook. And, you know, I've been putting up his film, sharing his film, because it's different. You know, we're in the United States, and it's, okay, well, I can do this, this, and this. But when your resources are limited, that's when he chose to reach out to me. And I've done everything in my power I can to help that young man. He wanted to come to the States and play. It just didn't quite work out, you know, with the visas and everything like that. But I love it. I love that idea.
So let me ask you this. What's the most fun part of what you're doing?
Seeing when that light comes on for that student athlete. It's just when they finally understand what you're saying, it's so beautiful to watch. And then to see them actually in a game and they use this up and under move I showed her, or she did a step back, and you know, it's beautiful to see it because they connected the dots and put everything together. So that's the most fun part.
So who are some up-and-coming hot prospects you work with?
Well, this just happened yesterday. Okay, so like I said, I started doing my Sunday trainings here at Stubbs Park. A young lady by the name of Haley Turnley, she's a sophomore out of Dublin. She plays for Dublin, and I believe she's number 35. I didn't know. And I watched Dublin play since I didn't know. Yeah. But to get her in that environment, it's more like, bam, it's in your face now versus I'm sitting in the stands watching, looking down on the court. I didn't know, but this young lady, she's definitely going places. And another young lady, Miss Colvin, Zion Colvin over at West Lawrence. Those were the 2 high schoolers I had yesterday. But she has a great work ethic. She goes hard in every drill, and we're gonna work. I didn't want to tweak because they're still in the state tournament.
Oh, they're doing good.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to tweak anything because I don't want to throw anybody off. But hopefully she's working with me this summer too, and we can really get her going to the next level as well. Yeah,
and y'all please stay tuned later. We're covering Dublin all the way to, we hope, the state championship.
Yes.
Really good basketball this weekend we have right here on the TV station. We follow, we're going to follow Dublin. We hope they got 2 of the best coaches that you could have.
They do.
And got some great athletes. Yes. So when you left Dublin, then you go to Georgia Southern. What was the biggest, I know you were this good player at Dublin, and then all of a sudden you show up at Georgia Southern with all these other people. What was the biggest shock to you?
the whole experience was a culture shock because you're away from home now.
Yeah.
Nobody's telling you, hey, you might want to get outside and work on your shot, or you want to work on your footwork. It was that sense of independence and being held accountable for the decisions you make. So if I chose not to work on my game, I knew somebody could take those minutes that I could potentially get. But just the level of competition, I mean, practice was the hardest part for me. We had some girls, oh my goodness, our coach put us, you split us up into two teams, and he's like, okay, this team run the press. This team run the press breaker. I'm on a team that has to run the press breaker against juniors and seniors. We couldn't get the ball past half court. It was tough. It was tough, but I always say the games were easier than practice was because we went at each other in practice, and it made us better at the end.
So you was looking forward to the games.
I was so ready for game day.
Yeah, I understand. A lot of athletes say that on the college level, that
Yeah.
game day is the easiest day of the
It
week
is.
because the coaches, for a reason, because you get out there, you really don't have to think. Your training kicks in.
That's right.
And it's like any job or position.
That's right.
Your training kicks in on it. But what would you say to a high school athlete, because you said a while ago they need to start early, and so if you get to high school and the lights just come on like you said a while ago, there's some catch up they got to play there. What advice are you going to give that high school kid? Because they waited a long time.
Right. Just always work on your game and not the things you're good at, the things you need work. I see a lot of kids, first thing they do, pick up a ball, shoot a three. As soon as they walk in the gym, that's the wrong answer. Always work on the little things, the fundamentals, footwork, hand-eye coordination, IQ. Basketball IQ is overlooked, and that can take you further than skills will sometimes. So.
Yeah, I agree. I see guys on the golf course walk out and pick their driver up, and I'm one of them. When I get there, I'm gonna grab my 7-iron or 9-iron. You work on the fundamentals. You work because in golf it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive.
That's right.
You can go out and knock the cover off, but then you can't get on the green.
That's right.
So, what's the biggest thing you learned once you graduated from Georgia Southern, looking back at it? What's the biggest thing you learned there?
Wow, just use that time in college to set yourself up. If you're going to continue to play sports, go ahead and start doing your research, because everybody's not going to make it to the NBA, WNBA. There are other avenues, and that's something I always speak to my young athletes about. It doesn't just stop with the NBA or the WNBA. You can go overseas, make a good living, like Coach Ben Smith did.
Yeah.
And other players, Jermaine Hall's still doing it, and he's been doing it for a long time. Another Dublin alumni, but just research and see what you can do and connect and network and things like that. So your career doesn't have to end there. And I wish I knew that back then. Yeah. But if it weren't for that, I wouldn't be doing this right now. So
that's right. It all works out, don't it?
That's right.
Do letters of recommendation help an athlete?
I say when you're ready to get a job, yes. But if you're trying to go to let's say high school students trying to play in college, the coaches want to see what you can do. More so in a game situation. So I always say highlight tapes are nice, but what you do with a highlight tape, you take the highlights of your season or game and put it together. So that coach doesn't get to see your weaknesses. They get to see you beating up on a team that y'all blow out by 50 points every time. And they want to see what happens when you get put in a position of adversity. How do you respond to that? Are you going to step up and take a charge? Are you going to try and block a shot? You on your 4th foul, you get your 5th foul, you're out the game. Those are the things that college coaches want to see. So highlight tapes are nice to look at, but not necessary. Invite those coaches to come see you play. Yeah. Because they want to see the total athlete. Yeah.
So what importance does a coaching staff at the collegiate level play on academic success?
Wow. Well, I spent a little time at Fayetteville State up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as an assistant coach after I got out of the Army. So we were on our student athletes because we don't want to lose anybody, of course. But we hold study hall. We do curfew checks. We do grade checks. We talk to your teachers. We do, or your professors in college. We do all of that because academics are so important, because when your playing career is over, this is all you have left. And if you don't get that while you're in school, take advantage of that.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, I'm not going to say it's never too late as long as you're still breathing, but get it while you can.
Yeah. And before we take another break, how hard is it when you was at Georgia Southern to have good grades and play basketball and put in the time that you have to?
I'll be honest with you. I struggle with that part. I struggle with the 5 a.m. Weightlifting sessions.
Yeah,
then you got 8 a.m. conditioning, or not 8 a.m. because your first class starts at 8. Excuse me. But you're getting up early in the morning. You got to do your weightlifting conditioning. Then you have practice. You got games, study hall. It's just so much, and I did struggle putting it together, but. Once I got in my major classes where I actually enjoyed what I was learning, my light came on. So that it's hard, but you can do it. It's very doable.
Yeah, the core classes where you struggle.
Yes,
Because you got to do
that's
them.
it.
And you usually don't care a whole lot about it.
That's
but
exactly right.
You got to do it to get to, like you said,
That's right.
Whatever you're majoring in. So y'all stay with us. We're going to come back and wrap things up.
The City of Dublin Natural Gas provides the most cost-efficient source of energy available today. So for your home, choose the most natural resource. Safe, clean, efficient. All new subdivisions around the Dublin area have natural gas available. Start reducing your energy bills today with Dublin City Natural Gas Department. Natural gas, the smart choice. Call 277-5048 today and let us help you start saving today.
The flu, this year we're seeing a lot more cases of it, but primarily that's because people aren't masking up like they did the previous year. So the best thing to do is just get vaccinated. Even if you got vaccinated last year, the flu vaccines are set up on an annual basis because it's got to be set up to treat the most predominant strains that are out there right now. And with Corona, you always got to keep that one in mind, and we do Corona vaccinations here now.
Welcome back, everybody. Continue my conversation with Nicole Newton, a graduate of Dublin High School. Played at Georgia Southern. You have a great company. It's veteran owned and veteran operated, is the way I like to say it.
Yes, sir.
And that says a lot about your, you think about the going to high school and then going to college and then the military. I mean, it takes a lot to do that.
It does.
I want to ask you a question. It's in the news all the time now, but what do you think about the NCAA's stance on transgender athletes on the college level?
It is a hot button topic. My personal thoughts are, you got to think about genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're free to identify as whatever you want, but when you're talking about genetics and on the field of competition, you don't want to give another player an unfair advantage, being that, and I saw this in the Olympics, especially with weightlifting and track and field, where, there was a transgender athlete, born a male, and was competing in women's track and field. You got to think about genetics at the end of the day. When it's all said and done, that is sort of an unfair advantage to people who were born female to compete against someone who's born a male. I think it should be a fair playing field. Okay, so if we have transgender athletes, I think it should be you have your, like basketball, for example, women's basketball, men's basketball. I think it should be a separate entity because it's fair for everyone that's in that league or in that field. So that's my stance on it. You just want to make the playing field fair. That's my word, fair.
Yeah.
Just be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, and then whoever wins or loses the game, as long as it's fair
Right.
across the board. But it's got to be tough on, and I wanted to ask you because you are a female, but to go out and you work hard and you train, and then you go up against a boy that was born a boy, and then he just track and field.
Right.
That's a good swimming, and then they just beat everybody. It's just it don't seem fair to the women that are working hard
Right.
to try to be the best they can be.
Right. I learned this lesson early on in life, and my dad, and I kind of got mad with him when he initially said it, because as a young, upcoming basketball player, I say, put me on the court with anybody, I can beat them.
Right.
Male, female, I can
Well,
beat
that's
them.
a good attitude.
It is. But he broke it down to me. He was like, our bodies are made differently.
That's right.
And it's nothing that we can do about it, but our bodies are made differently
Yeah.
as a female versus male. That's
right.
why our playing careers are significantly shorter than
Mm-hmm.
males. So when you think about it like that, that's what you're dealing, that's what you're up against, you know.
Okay, last question. Do you help student athletes that's going to be talking to coaches on the collegiate level? Do you help them to ask the right questions to know what the train of thought that they need to have?
Yes, sir. Being on both sides, going through that process myself, when I was getting ready to graduate from Dublin, and actually being a collegiate coach, I try to help them because with social media, you got to be careful. And I see it all the time. Kids that reach out to me, and I go on their social media page. I just want to see. And you wouldn't believe some of the things I've seen. And I'll inbox them and say, hey, you got to clean up your social media page.
Yeah.
Because college coaches, just like I clicked on your page, college coaches can do the same thing. And just know, have your questions written out. If you go into it thinking, oh, I'm just going to go off the top of my head, I'm just going to wing it, you may ask something that's going to raise a flag for that college coach. So write your questions out. Ask about academics. Ask about where would you be on the depth chart. You know, if you got 500 point guards and I play point guard and they're all sophomores and juniors, am I going to play? You know, I know when you get on the practice court, okay, but everybody doesn't go that way. You know, they'll run with that senior because they know my philosophy. Versus a freshman where you got to figure it out. You got to get integrated into the program. So have your questions written out. Let them, you know, run it by your parents or a guardian, whoever. Read it out to them. Does this make sense? Is this correct? Does this sound good? And go from there. So don't just go off the top of your head with that situation.
And finally, on a personal level, you know, this past year we lost Demaryius Thomas, Bebe.
Yes.
Wonderful friend to the TV station, to the community. Just
Right.
He went off and played in the pro level, but he never forgot Dublin.
Right.
He always came back and had camps for the kids. Didn't charge them. He'd give out hams and turkeys for Thanksgiving.
Yes, he did.
He helped I have a homeless ministry, and he bought us sleeping bags and helped us buy motel rooms for people to get them off the street, and Bibles, and it always impressed me because you would think some guy go off and making millions, you would think they wouldn't give a flip about their hometown, wherever that might be. His was Dublin.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, what do you say about the loss that we've had with Bebe?
Wow. It was big. I was older than him, so when he came up at West Lawrence, I was already, you know, gone. But I'm always checking in. But just hearing people talk about him, and I've never heard a negative thing said about him. And he always had that big smile. I did know that, and just watching him at Georgia Tech and with the Broncos and the other teams he played with in the NFL, he just seemed to always have this joy to do what he loves to do. And one thing about, I'll say, Lawrence County, when you're an adult, you know, when you're in high school, it's East Lawrence, West Lawrence, Dublin, and we all go at each other. But once you grow up and mature, it's a big family.
That's right.
And a loss like that affects all of us. Even with Gerard Stuckey.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with him. And those were just good people, and they always gave back and always cared about their communities, and that is another big loss for our community.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Wonderful, wonderful person, wonderful friend of the community, and I've told many people if you had ran into him at a convenience store, and if you didn't know who he was, you'd never know he was a pro athlete because he
Right.
was so down to earth,
Right.
and he never let it go to his head.
Right.
And like you, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people
Oh, yes.
do through the years. So,
Yes, yes.
okay, Nicole Newton, I was tickled to death to have you in today. I've never talked to anybody about this subject, so I was really, I was excited about getting your input. And
Yes.
those of you, if you're just joining us or joined us late in the broadcast, we'll be running this again, or check us out on YouTube, TV35 WDIG. You can watch it anytime you want. All our programming is on YouTube, so watch it when you want it, however you want to watch it, as many times as you want to watch it. So, and we would encourage you, if you have a child or a grandchild coming up and they are very athletically inclined, go back and watch this show and take these pointers and use them and help your child or grandchild be the best they can be. So thank you, Nicole,
Thank you.
and thank you for joining us today right here on TV35.